everyone, Old School Pokemon here, back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, joined by my usual co-host, KetchumAllCollectibles, Dan. How are we doing today, Dan?
Busy day. Doing well though. Busy's better than the alternative, but it's been really busy lately. So how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Living the dream over here. It's been a good couple of weeks since we last talked. Keeping busy with the lives, feeling very productive lately.
Glad to hear it. So yeah, as always, this is PokeFlipz live Q&A. Feel free to leave your questions as you come up with them in the chat. We're going to talk a little bit about this weekend. This weekend is kind of an exciting weekend. As always, there's tons of stuff going on in the Pokemon space. I'm sure we'll be asked about some of the things that we might just lead into ourselves here. But we're also getting together this weekend. I'm going out to Massachusetts literally right after. I mean, my daughter is already with my parents because I'm doing this podcast. So every other Friday she goes there. Once my wife and son get home from school, we're going right there, dropping my son off. They're doing a sleepover this weekend, and I'm Massachusetts bound. So looking forward to this weekend. That said, just up front, we usually run like 3 hours or a little over. We're probably going to cut this one at like 2. So maybe not 2 p.m. We're going to cut this one at like 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes top. So by 3:30 p.m. we plan to be done with this. But we still 2 hours and 15 minutes of hanging out with Dan and Nick to start off your weekend. So anything you want to add before we get into the weekend? Anything I forgetting to cover?
No, I think that was about it.
So yeah, I guess I'll start. I already talked a little bit about how I'm starting my weekend, dropping the son off. My wife and I are heading to Salem, actually. We did a one-night thing at like a place in Salem. She's never been. I think she's always wanted to go. It's a place her parents really want to go someday. So we're gonna have like a very short trip there. We're gonna check it out. I think we're gonna be pulling in about 9 p.m. So not that we're gonna have a ton of time. And then I think we're like an hour there. I think we're an hour from the Best Flipping Card Show, which is tomorrow from like 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I believe, or something along those lines. You can correct me.
Yeah, no, that's right.
We're going to be showing up like maybe in the last hour of that. Like maybe I'll bring a little bit of cash. Maybe I'll try to wheel and deal, make something happen. But more, it's just I think Jake's vending that. So it's just to say hi to Jake and meet up with you and PK as well. So I guess I'll have 3 hours tonight and maybe 3 hours tomorrow morning to check out Salem. And maybe plan like a longer trip next time, sometime with the family, maybe with the in-laws, do a Salem trip. So we'll be scoping that out, and then seeing you guys tomorrow. So take us through your first day or two of the weekend, and then we'll get into Saturday night and all that beyond.
So tonight I will be live on eBay Live, normal Friday night stream. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna head to that show a little bit earlier than you. I've never been to that one, so it'll be interesting to see. I've heard it's mainly a sports show, but there are some Pokemon vendors. So I'm gonna try, depending on how late I go tonight, I'm gonna try and be there around 11-ish. And hopefully walk around and buy some singles. Singles is what I'm really looking for. Modern singles is what I'm really after right now. So hopefully try and buy a whole bunch of that stuff, and then meet up with you, PK, Jake, and grab some lunch and hang out for the afternoon and night.
Grab a nice 12 or maybe 30 pack of IPAs for the eBay Live shenanigans on Saturday night.
Nope, that won't be me. I will be completely sober.
That'll be me. I'll be having some IPAs in the background. PK will have, what's his? Does he do the high noons now or something? I forget what he does exactly. He'll have his beverage of choice, I'm sure. We'll be trying to pick. Maybe we'll try to pick up like a keg or something. Have Nick doing keg stands between every fifth auction or something. You know, get the. I don't know if eBay has a policy on that. Do they have policies on that? Maybe they do. Maybe none of that will be happening. I'll be drinking out of a cardboard. Sorry, not a cardboard. A paper bag that just has a Coca-Cola inside. It'll just be Coca-Cola.
Pull a chef and do the old paper bag.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be drinking Coca-Colas. I'll be being a good boy tomorrow night. No alcohol consumption if that's not allowed per eBay Live.
I don't even think I could do it. There's so much that you have to do. They're like constantly. There's so much that you're paying attention to, like for like auctions and pack rips. You're paying attention to where the cards are on camera. You're talking about the card. You're keeping up with chat. You're loading the new auctions. I think I would be a disaster if I started drinking too.
You're babysitting your drunk friends in the background. And I guess what spurred this trip on to give this information to anybody who hadn't heard yet. I know PK's talked about it a little bit in a live or two of his. I've talked about it a little bit in mine and maybe in some Discord chats. But I was onboarded to eBay Live, actually. I was onboarded to eBay Live. I forget if it was this week or last week. But yeah, my account is ready to go. I'm not ready to go yet. Part of this trip to Nick tomorrow night will be to see. I want to check out Old School Pokemon, what he's got going on in the back end there. Checking out Old School Pokemon's back end. I want to see the eBay Live, how it all functions, how Nick runs it. I want to see what his setup is. I want to be able to figure out mine. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I've never been over to Nick's. He's been to my house. He's seen some of my setup, where things are, how I have things set up. It'll be interesting to see all of it, and then specifically the whole eBay Live thing.
Yeah, it'll be fun to get you to see my setup. Not as much room as you. Not as much room as you.
I don't have as much room as I would want either, so it'll be interesting to see that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I actually I don't know for certain, but like obviously this whole eBay vault thing really threw me for a loop. I have a lot of stuff going on with all that. I have 800 to 850 cards that are being affected by that. I think I have 700 in the vault already. 150 are inbound to the vault just this week. Last call kind of going out. I put up a short last night. So I'm trying to get all the juice out of that. I'm trying to squeeze all the juice I can out of eBay Vault before it goes away. And that's taking up a lot of my time, still working nights. I kind of told eBay, like, it could be a little bit sooner, but it won't be significantly sooner. I'm kind of planning to make my eBay Live debut like July, maybe. Like maybe I'll do a
July.
Yes, honestly, I would love in a lot of ways.
Happen like May, man.
In a lot of ways, like I would like to get into it sooner. I worry that I worry for the long term, like how long it will last, what it might turn into. Maybe they'll buy Whatnot, maybe Whatnot will buy them, and it'll all just go away like the vault did to me. But I don't know. I've mentioned before, like I don't see myself as being the face of it. I plan on potentially having a couple streamers. I've been talking with a lot of different people. I think there's a lot of people interested in doing it. I'm just not like it's great what you're doing. The fact that you love it, the fact that you just like pivoted so heavily towards 20 hours a week of FaceTime or whatever it is. I don't have the time nor the desire to make the time to do that. I enjoy it as like more of an event thing. Like, hey, a new set just dropped. Boom, let me go live. Let me rip it for 4 hours. But I don't want to be ripping it forever. Like, I don't want to be ripping it for the next. Like, I would be shocked if I ever, like, my long-term steady state, if it was more than once a month, I would be surprised if I went that deep into it. But if I went once a month and then I had 2 or 3 people that went like once or twice a week, and then, I mean, like cumulatively, my account might be live for 20 hours a week or something, maybe more. Like, who knows? Who knows where this all could go? But I've appreciated the information that you and Walrus have shared with me. I've started like crunching some numbers. I have some of my own spreadsheets going off of the spreadsheets you sent me, trying to figure out like streamer pay and trying to figure out how much I might have to be sourcing if my account's live for 10 hours a week, how many items an hour, blah, blah, blah. Like it's and I'll make some YouTube videos about all this as I figure it out as I go through it. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see how it goes. I'm excited to see you on there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you like live in person. I've tuned into a couple here and there, but I've never watched an entire one. You go live, it'll be Saturday at 9, right? 9 Eastern?
Yeah. Yep.
And then you mentioned you go to like 3 sometimes, right? Just you do a couple hours of auctions, and then however long people are still swiping that credit card, you'll stay live, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. The auction, it'll be 80 auctions, which will take right at 2 hours. And then so that'll be 11. And then we'll get into the pack ripping. And pack ripping, it depends on who's in there, how many packs are being opened. But that usually goes till 2, 3, very occasionally 4. I cannot go past then. If it gets to about 3 and we still have orders, that's when I'll shut it off.
And that's the interesting dynamic that you face on the East Coast. Like if you were a West Coast streamer, you would probably be wanting to start at like 6 p.m. or something so that you could catch the East Coasters maybe at 9 p.m. like primetime slot. But being an East Coaster, you're stuck that, hey, there's Californians, there are people over on the West Coast that they're just getting like at your time of 2 a.m., they're just getting rolling. It's only 11 p.m. The night is young, and they want to be they want to be ripping. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic depending on what time zone you're in, and that has a big effect on what your viewership will be, and definitely just an interesting consideration. I'll need to get I'll need to get streamers all across the cover every coast, cover every time zone.
Exactly. It'll be really interesting. I think now is a good time to start getting on there, because there's starting to become more and more streamers on there. We actually just got we got 2 new Pokemon streamers. Card Champs is one of them, and then we just recently, as of a couple of days ago, got another Pokemon streamer, Blazing Cards. And he's a big TikTok and whatnot guy. So he's saying that come next week, he's going to start running 24-hour streams. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. I don't think there's nearly enough buyers on there to support a 24-hour stream. My Wednesday daytime streams I'm going to keep doing them to try and build up that daytime following, but it is not worthwhile.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting to hear that. Obviously, you've got the in the whatnot space, you've got the Going Twices, you've got the Mystic Rips, I believe is primarily Cardboard Hands podcast, actually. Josh, I think it was Josh. I think Retro's been watching it some since Josh mentioned as well. But that Brandon Martin, it's like his secondary account, whereas Mystic Rips is his primary. I've been watching some of those vlogs that he does on the personal account there, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see like his whole setup and how he's walking through, how he's thinking all of it through. And I think he just had somebody pivot from like being a TikTok streamer to whatnot, and I don't think he touches eBay at all, really. I think he's whatnot TikTok. But it'll be interesting to see who's the first account that not only runs a single 24-hour stream, but like who and if and when will someone be 24/7? I mean, obviously whatnot has that support. They have multiple accounts doing that now at this point, in clothing, and they do coins, and I think eBay Live, actually, my onboarding to eBay Live, there was a jewelry seller, and I don't know what everyone was, but I know one of them came up specifically as being like a jewelry seller. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
It will be. It will be. Yeah, I think there's still a way. They're getting better, but I think they're still a ways off from 24-hour streams. One thing that they did just I don't know if you're getting the eBay Live emails now. You probably are.
I am. Yeah.
But just yesterday they announced a really interesting update where I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, the 24th, whatever day that is. They're now supporting a function where I can list a card on like regular eBay auction. So it'll pop up in your normal search results, but I can make that card exclusive for my eBay Live event.
Yep.
So now I'm getting all the eyes from regular eBay coming over to my eBay Live to bid on that card. I think that's going to be a really, really cool feature. And I'm so happy that they announced it now, because come May 18th, I'm going to be doing my 1 year anniversary stream. So I'm going to do a really big stream for that, and it'll be really good to be able to actually list everything on normal eBay a week ahead of time, and then hopefully get a lot more viewers into the stream because of that.
Part of me pushing to like July too, potentially. Like it could happen in late May, it could happen in June, who knows? But part of me kind of wanting to push a little bit further out. I almost want to come in like really big, and it might be just a complete, I might really regret doing it, but I'm contemplating just running like I like the idea of just $1 auctions and the pack ripping. I like the idea of the setup that I think you and I think Chris Weedle's Warehouse does the same thing. But I kind of want to run, which I think you would probably point me away from it, like running some high-end PSA 10 alt art slabs. Like what would happen if you ran a Moonbreon? What would happen if you were running heavy base set packs? What would happen if like all in one stream, just come out really big to start? Come out really big. Maybe I just get destroyed. But
As your first stream, I think you would get absolutely wrecked.
Probably. If I could line it up so that I would get a push notification, and if I like really pumped it up, like maybe I don't end up going that route, but I have a little bit of a feeling that I kind of want to come in strong. And maybe it would just go so south. But it's like, hey, dude selling $400 PSA 10 Moonbreons. It's like, save this seller, go follow this guy that's gonna get wrecked. And so maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But what's like the highest end in one without a push notification? Because if I'm understanding correctly, I think you can work with eBay. You know which ones are gonna get extra promotion, and then you know which ones are not gonna have that, right? So like on a normal night, this Saturday, tomorrow, you don't have that coming, right? It's just a normal stream.
Yeah, yep, just a regular stream. I typically do mainly sub $100 cards, and then a few over like $100-$200 range. On a non-promoted stream, I think I've done like a few $300-$400 cards. I actually did a light base pack that sold for, it was like right around 300. So I was happy with that. But yeah, nothing too crazy high end on the non-promoted streams. That is something that I do want to start doing now that my following is getting bigger. Start doing like a highlighted card every week.
I don't know how the functionality works exactly, but if you could list that 99-cent auction Moonbreon to normal eBay for a day or two,
yeah,
leading into your live, and it's like, put in the description, this will be sold on eBay Live. Go bookmark my stream. I don't know if you could throw a link within the description, like linking to your upcoming live that weekend. I like, there are things that I'm exploring to see how it will all work. I have Brad and Walrus in here really wanting me to run some high-end slabs in my first stream. They're here to set my floor at $4.99 a slab.
Yeah, now that they do have that feature, I think the higher end stuff could do better for sure.
Yeah, and maybe my high end maybe I'll be a little more cautious. Maybe it'll just be like Celebrations Charizards. Maybe it'll be a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard, $150-$200. Like I don't know. I guess that could always be like, start off with that, see how it goes, and then maybe try like a Gengar alt-art, or maybe a Rayquaza alt-art, something in the more $500 tier, and see how it goes, and have that Moonbreon there just in case. Have it at the ready. I don't know. I'm toying with the ideas of what I'm gonna do and when I'm gonna do it, but yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be a really informative, instructive thing, and I can learn and see a lot, and I'll be really interested to see how it goes.
Now, why July? Why so long?
Well, July is like a big it's summer. School ends. So
Oh, okay.
right now I'm working nights. I've mentioned this so many times now, but I have my daughter during the day. Every other Friday she goes to my parents. My mom watches her because she works like 4 10s Monday to Thursday. Uh, but yeah, my wife and my son will be off for summer. I'll be back to like it'll be summer though, so I'll be wanting to take a bunch of time off, go to the zoo, go day trips and weekend trips and stuff with the family. But I'll still be a lot more of a normal schedule by then, and it'll be easier to be able to fit it in. I don't know, like by then I have a feeling that eBay Vault might be done. I have heard different rumblings, I've heard different dates, and a lot of them are like kind of settling around like 2 months. I hope we have longer than that, but it feels like we might not. So even if eBay Vault isn't completely done, I'll be working days and I'll just have a lot more time if needed. So right now adding like my account right now, like I could go live on eBay right now. My account is ready to go, but if I start adding that in to all the stuff I have going on with the vault and everything else, like it's just too much right now, so I can't.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Brad says July might as well be next year. Dan is a human snail. I am Mr. Consistency. I don't want to go live tomorrow night. I don't want to go live today and then have it be like, I'll see you. I don't know when. I don't like, I want to come out. When I come out, I want to be, and I've mentioned this before, but once a month probably for me. Like maybe I'll be the first certain day of a week every month. But I want to be able to figure that out. I want to be able to sort out my schedule and have some kind of a thing. But when it starts, I'm going to do like maybe 2 or 3 a week for the first 3 to 4 weeks. So maybe all of July, like I might do 10 or 12 streams in July, if that's the month that I started, because I want to be able to get a feel for how am I going to be able to pay someone to do this? Am I going to be able to pay someone to do this? What kind of hourly, what kind of commission percentage? Like I kind of timing myself like, hey, run a 3-hour stream where I sell X amount of auctions and I do Y amount of pack rips. And then the next day, like calculate how long does it take me to pack and ship that? Because if you're paying a streamer, obviously you can't just pay them for the time that they're streaming, right? Like the next day they're doing the packing and the shipping. And obviously I can get some amount of that from you. I'm going to be different from you. Whoever I hire to stream is going to be slightly different from me. But I want to have some kind of a baseline. I want to have some kind of a baseline. So, Mr. Consistency, I don't want to just like YOLO my first one and then be like, oh, I'll see you next month. I would rather do it when I can. Like again, if it ends up being July, that just gives me a lot more time to. And maybe it's sooner. I don't know. Maybe it's June. Maybe it's June because you say July so far. You will close your eyes. You will blink and it will be July. Like time flies so fast. It's crazy to me. We're in 2024.
Yeah, and not just 2024. Halfway through April of 2024.
Dan passed the workload collectibles. Oh man. I don't know if how old does Dan's kid need to be before he can pay them to stream? I don't know. Like, I'm assuming eBay must have some age requirement to have an account and stuff like that. I actually saw in Discord, I saw a screenshot was shared of, I think it was like a teenager with like his mom or something streaming with his mom. Like, I don't know what age. There might be a minimum age someone would have to be on there. And maybe if you're between these two ages, you have to have a parental guardian also on screen. Like, I have no idea how any of that works. But my kids are 5 and 3. They're not streaming anytime soon. I can confidently say that.
Yeah, I know one person, part-time collector. It's a family operation, and the son and the mom are always on the stream.
That's who it was. Yeah, I saw a screenshot of them.
Yeah, yep. And then the dad is the behind the scenes guy. He's the you of your operation.
TCG
An
House says,
interesting question. I'm curious to hear the answer on that one.
TCG House, I had that one on the screen, but I had to pop this one up quick. Are you doing your homework? Did you do your live stream yet? Dan, probably. So yeah, Mr. Walrus says, Mr. Walrus, 4 to 1% variable consignments available. Are your streamers going to have access to the platform to stream their own cards on off days? That's something that, like, it's going to be case by case isn't the right way to say it, but it's going to be negotiated separately, like with whoever I'm dealing with. Like I've already talked with several people now at this point. Like every time I talk about it, someone else slides into the DMs like, hey, I'd have some interest too. So there's definitely a decent amount of interest piling up. And some people are like, I wouldn't want to do any of my own. Some people are like, if it's a possibility, I would want to do. And it's about figuring how that would work. Like if they're streaming their own stuff, my account's benefiting from the additional sales numbers, right? It's benefiting from all that, but it's also a risk that you're taking on. Like any streamer that you hire, like just as a business, you're giving them some amount of access to your account. There's some amount of privileged information within there, right? You got to trust them to not share order information of other people, because I've actually been looking at it. So it's called MUAA, multi-user account access, or multi-user account authorization. I gave that to my personal account. So I have like a personal eBay account that I buy, like if I'm buying a new blender, like one I'm probably buying it on Amazon, not eBay, but say I'm buying it on eBay, I'll buy like personal items that are not sales tax exempt, that are nothing to do with the business, on my personal credit card, on my personal eBay. So I gave that account shipping access, order and shipping access, just to see what it looks like. And you can see a fair bit. And then you can give like listing access. You can give, I mean, at one point you can give access to everything essentially. But it's just, again, not wanting to just YOLO into handing over the keys to the castle and having someone stream and not having like all the things figured out on the front end. I've got to have all my spreadsheets done. I've got to have all my ducks in a row. I've got to have everything sorted out before I go live for that first time. So I'm ready to do it sustainably and consistently.
There we go. I like it. I like it.
And there was a comment of Walrus's too that I was going to throw on screen. Where'd it go? It was something about like, oh yeah, why has Dan only asked C-tier flippers to stream and not me? Why do we not see Mr. Walrus live on Old School Pokemon's eBay Live? That's my question. Taking off of Walrus's.
I've tried to get him on there. He's camera shy, I think.
So I mean, I can barely believe this, but what you're saying is this was a meme question by Mr. Walrus. This was not serious then.
But believe it or not, I think this was. If he comes to streaming on your account, not mine, he's gonna be on the unemployment line pretty soon.
Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Let's see. I'm all over the place, and I've not been starring all the comments that I should be. But yeah, I would love to see. Walrus start doing some regular streamings over on Old School Pokemon's account. Hopefully one of these days you will. Walrus exposed. Damn, called out. Oh yeah, but he said thanks for not answering the question, Dan. So pending like terms, I would need to figure out how we would make sense of that, what would work. They could. It wouldn't be like a free reign thing, like you just click to go live whenever you want to. I would want to know. I would want to be able to promote for them. Like, hey, it's going to be through my account. Like, even if someone was streaming their own stuff, I would want to be like, hey, post to Instagram with the link, post to my website, like a streaming schedule, maybe. I don't know. But absolutely, there would be the potential that people could sell their own things. If they were streaming for me, streaming 60% of the time my stuff, 40% of the time their stuff, vice versa. Maybe some people I don't know. There's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of things that I still need to think through, which is part of why I'm not ready to go live myself or with streamers.
Mm-hmm.
OSP would have failed a long time ago without me.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, I did have a couple things starred. We've got very, very very specific drilling into the details questions from both Retro, how to make money, ? And then we also have from Ernesto, question for PokeFlipz, wealth without labor, how? So let's take these two, let's lump them together. They were asked 30 minutes apart nearly, but they drill at the same question. How do we get rich just in general? And then ideally, added by Ernesto, without labor.
Without labor, that's all you. I work, unlike some people.
Yeah. How do we flip on the passive cardboard income switch?
I have not figured that one out.
Troll and Toad Evo, but sorry, it's already gone. That was killed over a year and a half ago. But yeah, I don't think I've seen it in the comments yet. 151. I guess on that wealth creation thing, 151 is like the 151 is the talk of the town right now. The knives are, it's raining knives, and people are out here in the streets trying to catch those falling knives. I've already seen a lot of bloodied hands. I've already heard of a lot of people buying cases at I mean, 12, like, well, as of what, like 3 weeks ago before this news came out, what were the boxes selling at? Like $180 a box. So you're talking $2,000.
I bought 5 boxes on, it was a Saturday card show back a couple weeks ago. The Saturday before the Monday announcement. And the boxes were right around 180. I got 5 boxes for 160. And I was so happy about that. And then Monday comes.
Did you already
announce this gigantic reprint?
Oh, so you were sad on them? Did you stream them already or no?
I still have them. I'm selling them slowly.
Yeah. Ray's here. He said 151's gone from 180 to 65 in like 2 weeks, and everywhere in between. So like I think there was a big jump that first day, and then there's like big jump overnight. But almost everywhere in between, someone's bought cases, boxes, 100 boxes, like everywhere in between. I've slowly been got a shout out our boy Retrospecs. I've been buying some through him. I send him money, and he's facilitating getting some stock piled up for the eBay for the long term. Felipe De Sosa says, "Don't buy 151. I heard 152 is coming out before next year." But yeah, I'm planning to buy. We always say it. I always say it. It's like this stuff could go. Like Shiny Treasure right now is 30 a box. This stuff, they could have printed an amount. There exists an amount where 151 this summer could be 30 a box. Do I think it will go there? No. But I heard so many people confidently say it's never going below 100. The reprint's not going to matter. There's too much demand. Like, nobody knows. Nobody knows. I think I started buying my first boxes, or I started like asking to have boxes bought, and the buys started being executed in the 80s, about $1,000 case. And I'm just going to buy the whole way down. Like, one thing that I'll never do is I'll never go like all in on any one thing. I'll never use up all my money at $1,000 cases. So then when it's potentially $600 cases, $800 cases, maybe $500 cases, I have no money to go like deeper into it. And yeah, as of right now, it's like I've deployed some amount in, and if and when things in a month or two are significantly lower, I will just buy a bunch more. I'm not going to say I'm going to buy it all or this or that, like some of the things people also say, but there's a possibility that this is the low, and it might snap back over the weekend, and it could be a $100 box again Monday, and it also could be a $40 or a $30 box Monday. Those are the two extremes. I don't think either one of those two will happen, more likely it's going to be like plus or minus a little bit from where it's at, but nobody knows. That's the thing. There's thousands of people saying into social media, like there's thousands of people saying something about what the price will be when hundreds of people will be right minimum. So people will say they're right. They're going to clip their thing from the month prior, 6 months prior, whatever it may be. And they were lucky. It was a lucky guess. Like it's nobody knows. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think did you start buying your boxes recently, or have you been buying what did you say that? I might have completely missed that.
Just last week, I again
Okay.
retrospects on Instagram, Discord, wherever you can find them. If you're looking for some Japanese product, I mean, a lot of the stuff I could probably go and I could source it. I am one where it's like I'll pay a little bit more money. I'll allow someone else to make a little bit of money to just source it for me. Like all my English stuff, I get wholesale. I get that stuff. But Japanese stuff, it's just so much more tedious. I'd rather pay someone else a little bit of a premium to just get it for me. And honestly, like I have direct contacts in Japan through Instagram and this and that. I've quoted everyone against each other, and retro always comes in cheaper for me than any of the other places that I'm looking. So hit them up. But yeah, last week, I forget, was it last Monday that the reprint was announced? I think it was mid to late last week. I started having him pick up some for me, and then picking up a little bit more like today, this weekend as the prices are coming down, but also like kind of waiting and seeing what's going on. We're also picking up a little bit of shiny treasure because it's like $30 a box. Mm-hmm. We're picking up a little bit of V-Star Universe because it's a solid set. And again, this is like from Cardboard Hands. I just listened to that this morning. Retro mentioned that at least for the time being, not that it could never be reprinted again, but at least for the time being, there are no further planned reprints of V-Star Universe, and what's out there is out there for now. Like, absolutely take everything with a grain of salt, because going back to what I said 2 minutes ago, nobody knows for sure. But yeah, the three main sets that capital is being deployed into, at least for me, are a bit of shiny treasure because it's like $30, and some amount of 151 and some amount of V-Star.
Yeah, I think those are the best sets. I've even gotten a little bit of the. I just started getting into Japanese, so I got a little bit of the regular sets, just because of how cheap they are and how cheap you can sell packs. Yeah, selling packs for $2.50, $3. It's a good deal for people. So I like these new Japanese prices.
Yeah, it's really nice. I've seen a couple of people, and this is actually one interesting point to put out there. A lot of people have the expectation of volume buying gets you cheaper prices. Often in Pokemon, especially when you're dealing with like Japanese through all the chains that has to filter through to get to you. Buying in volume, especially at extreme volumes, you pay more. Like I saw some people in Discord this morning saying that they got some at 54, some at 57. If you want to buy a box or two, or maybe 6 or 8 or 10, or if you want to buy like I'm sure you can go on the various Japanese websites. I'm sure you can like get a lot cheaper the less you're buying. If I hit up Retro, like, hey Retro, I've got $100,000. I did not do this, disclaimer. but if I told Retro I want $100,000 in 151 this weekend, I don't get a 10% discount or a 20% discount to the random person who buys like one on Buy or whatever. I would spend a significant premium having like, because I mean, buying from the bottom up, you'll be moving the price up at some amount, like to some extent while you're buying that, right? Like $100,000 in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot of money relative to the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of boxes this reprint probably was, or maybe 1 million. Like, we don't even know. Maybe it's 1 million boxes that were reprinted in Japan. But that's a common thing that like usually you pay a slight case premium if you're buying by the case, which is like 20 at a time. Well, 12 at a time for a standard set like 151, 20 at a time for a specialty set. And if you want, like I've been on occasion, I've bought 100 boxes of something, like maybe 5 grand, 10 grand at a time. You're usually spending a little bit more than if you're buying like onesie twosies, buying 5, 10, 20 boxes. So some people come in with like big money and, oh, I want to put 25 grand in. I'm expecting to save like that. That's not really a thing. That's not really a thing, especially with Japanese products. So I think a lot of people know that, but then there's also a lot of people that don't know that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And now are you only buying cases? Or are you doing single boxes? Because there was I forget what set it was. It might have been, I forget. There was one that I got off of Retro, or was it? I think it was Retro anyway. Where the case price was a little bit more, and so I went with the single boxes because I'm just selling them through the lives as single packs. So whatever's cheapest for me. I don't ever see a time where I'm going to sell sealed cases. I think it's always going to be breaking individual boxes and selling individual packs, maybe selling whole boxes sealed. So I know sealed cases do have a premium, but I think in my case it doesn't matter as much.
If I can get the case, and I've had this conversation with Retro, if he can get me the cases for $1 or $2 a box or something, like a slight premium, I'd rather the cases, to be honest. And I have a video coming out Monday where I kind of like audit my whole investment portfolio of like modern, the video I've been teasing for a few weeks now. And I have a large amount of loose boxes of those 3 sets that I mentioned: Shiny Treasure, V-Star Universe, and then well, not 151. So just those 2 sets. I sold like low list by $1 maybe. I sold in the past like 3 days like 70 V-Star boxes. I'm selling them at a loss relative to what I paid for them months ago. But actively, as those are selling, I'm basically having Retro rebuy them for me like a little bit cheaper. So I'm making some margin there. I'm lowering my dollar cost average. You know what I'm saying? If it makes sense, I'm lowering my cost basis by selling them cheaper than, like, I'm selling them for less than I paid months ago, but I'm rebuying them at even cheaper than I'm netting off them. So I'm keeping the same amount of boxes, but I'm making them cheaper through just cycling them. I know we had him on a couple months ago, but PokeNE, he talked about that before. There's times where he'll have a set, he buys 300 boxes, the price goes down 20, 30, 40%. He keeps selling them, and as he sells them, he just rebuys them. So he's losing money in some ways, but he's also lowering his cost basis on those boxes that he's carrying anyways. That's something that I've always done the same way too. It kind of stings a little bit in some ways, but like one of the worst things you can do with a loss is just get stubborn and continue to sit on it and hold it and not do anything with it, right? So if you have the ability to sell it, albeit at a loss, but then replace it for even cheaper than you're actively selling it, it makes sense to do. Definitely makes sense to do. We got Brad here confidently saying it's going to be $50 a box by tomorrow.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's been dropping like a rock.
Like it could be 50 on Monday. It could be $600 cases Monday, or it could be $900 cases. Neither one would surprise me. Like neither one would be shocking. We just have no idea. I could say it's definitely going to be this. It's like I could guess, and then in a month or two, if I was right, I could do a clip, I could post a short, and I could say like how right I was. And if I was wrong, it's like, oh, just forget about it. Move on. The way social media, the way things go. Like a lot of people just, I mean, Brad will probably like have a time and date. He'll probably have it timestamped and call me out or something. But
yeah, exactly.
It's funny. In earlier today in Discord, I actually shared, someone commented on one of my shorts from like a year ago. Very, very rare that I get a comment on that old of a short, especially. But it was like a very sarcastic Moonbryon short. I think at the time Moonbryon was 800. And I was like, hey, look at this PSA 10. I own my first one ever. I've never owned this card before. There are only 6,000 out there in PSA 10, and there are 8 billion people in the world. There will never be enough of this card. So very sarcastically, I said, like, I was basically implying like this card is undervalued, but sarcastically. I should repost that today and say, like, I was telling everyone a year ago to buy Moonbryons when they were 800 and now they're 1,300. Like, it's so obvious. What is wrong with you people? Why didn't you listen to me?
People would believe it. People do not understand your sarcasm.
Yeah, I know.
People get very offended with your sarcasm.
See, that's the way to make a win-win though. Put out a video, give it sarcastic undertones. If you were wrong a year later, you say obviously that video was sarcastic. There's no way you can't tell that video was sarcastic. And if it ends up actually being right, like my April 1st video, a year or 2 or 5 years from now, I mean, I can point to that and say it was so obvious. Like I was doing it, everyone was doing it. Why weren't you doing it? We're all rich. And then if stuff is flat or down, it's like it was April 1st. Obviously, that was all a joke. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you can't lose. Oh man, I'm gonna scroll back before we start losing comments and make sure I start everything. But yeah, it'll be really interesting. So like to date, over the past week and a half, you mentioned you bought the 151 boxes at that show. They kind of gone down since. You haven't bought any more yet. Do you have like?
I haven't bought any more yet. I do want to buy some now. I want to get some of that. I want to get some of the. I have enough V-Star Universe. I want to get some shiny treasures though.
Can I ask, or is it too prying? How much is enough V-Star Universe?
I have 50 boxes of V-Star Universe, and then I have 30 boxes down here, like in my inventory. So 50 boxes set aside, 30 down here. That's enough for now.
Yeah, I had, before I did that listing where I sold 70 V-Star Universe in the past like 3 or 4 days, I had 100 loose boxes of it, and I have, Japanese cases are weird. They don't say the set name on the outside, or some do and some don't, but like in my video on Monday, you'll see the spreadsheet that I made, or anyone that watches it will see it, I guess. It just shows like the date, like it shows 2022, 12, 17, like whatever the release date was. So I have to go to like Bulbapedia, like, okay, this set is this. I am not great still with Japanese, like what set's what. Even by looking at the box, it's like I got to take the S12A or the S6A. I got to Google what that is still a lot of times.
Yeah,
but yeah,
the Japanese set names, the abbreviations, I do not understand.
I had 100 loose boxes of shiny treasure, of which some have been trickling out on my eBay now. They're selling at like a $10 profit to what I'm replacing them at, but they're selling at like a $20 per box like loss to what I paid. So it's just, again, it's like every one I sell, I'm lowering my cost basis by that much because I'm replacing it as they sell. But yeah, I was buying that set. I have 10 sealed cases, and I also have 100 loose boxes. So I have 200 boxes of shiny treasure. Probably at an average of 55 or something, and now they're selling for 30. So yeah, get wrecked me. Oh man, here we go. Dan looked out for me when I was broke. It didn't help. I'm still broke, but we appreciate the homie. Oh man, yeah, these are from like half an hour ago. Nick blinks 5 times if you would rather be on eBay Live right now. I think I've caught everything. If I end up missing your question, feel free to just re-ask it. But
it's
yeah,
because he hates you.
This was actually one. So I listened to Cardboard, or not Cardboard Hands. I listened to Box Nostalgia. There's so many podcasts out there now. I listened to Box Nostalgia. I think it was last night. They did a tier list on consoles, and one, they didn't have N64 in its own tier above S tier, so I'm thinking about unsubscribing. But they asked for suggestions at the end of like tier list to do. Do an, like, unironically, do a Pokemon podcast tier list. He says Cardboard Hands S tier, PokeFlipz D tier. I mean, come on, let's go right for it. Give us the spicy, give us the drama. Go for a content creator / then do like secondary, like a podcast, because there's not enough podcasts to do like a full tier list. But that would be interesting. Seeing what you guys truly think.
Honga also rated Neo Rev when they were doing their WotC set tier list. Neo Rev and Team Rocket, I forget what tier he put it at. I think they were, I want to say it was like B or C tier, but they were both in the exact same tier, which is just blasphemy right there. So Ponga
he needs
doesn't
to
know
be
what he's talking
canceled.
about.
Do you remember this is the same Ponga that said he hates artists? He hates Pokemon artists when he was on
Well,
with
that
us.
I
mean,
agree with. That I agree with him on that. He has one good take, and that's it.
I kid mostly. Go check out our last episode. After this is all done, go check out our last episode with Ponga, and
No,
or not
we had
our last
Ernie on
episode.
last time.
What's that?
We had Ernie on last time.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I said last time, but go check out our former episode, whenever that was, with Ponga, and go watch Box Nostalgia and give Ponga some crap for his very questionable takes on his tier list ranking. So be sure to go to give him hell there in his comment section. Mr. Walrus, Probstein live or PokeFlipz? I don't know if Probstein's live right now.
Pretty interesting. He's a fun watch for anyone who's bored. He's live at 1:15 every day during the week, and then I think on Sundays as well.
He does it himself too, right? Rick himself.
He's
That's
always
crazy.
he has someone in the background helping him, but it's always him on camera doing the auctions. Really funny live sometimes. I hop in there every once in a while when I'm just working on the computer doing something, just to have something on in the background. He's a funny guy. I like listening in his lives.
He's got some pretty interesting. I watched a bunch of his reels over on Instagram. He seems like a pretty fun guy. Oh
yeah,
pretty interesting. I haven't watched any of his. I think I've gone into a couple of his eBay lives, but never like at length.
You gotta start going into more lives, getting some inspiration over here.
I know. I need to start studying. I really need to start studying more before I make my own way into eBay Live. But here's a very timely question by Garen. With limited funds, would you start backing off cases of Lost Origin and Brilliant Stars and attempt to save up for the Japanese 151 reprint, or put whatever you can muster in? I'm going to mention this in my video. I didn't do it for my video Monday, but as I've been doing lately, I think Brad or Walrus, maybe both Brad and Walrus, have kind of teased me like, Dan, we'll make a video on it next week, collectibles. I've been teasing a lot upcoming videos. I have so many things planned, and it's like there's so much overlap, but I'm going to make a video on like an actual investment palette of Pokemon that I'm setting back. I'm doing a little venture between myself and a close family person that we're going to be just like wrapping up a palette of Pokemon and forgetting about it till like 2030 and seeing what happens. I would rather put $30 shiny treasure boxes on that palette and forget about it for 5 years than like Brilliant Stars cases at full MSRP through the Pokemon Center. I'll talk about more like whenever that video comes out, 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. I'll talk a lot more about my methodology on like why I chose specifically what went on that investment palette. But yeah, I feel like, especially if you, like, I say it all the time, same arena, different rules, different games, blah, blah, blah. But if you are taking money that you have the time to otherwise flip with, like if you are tying up flipping money so that when someone hits you up with a collection of raw near mint alt arts, you have to pass on that because you have Lost Origin booster cases in your closet. Like, you really need to be careful. So I think a lot of people, some amount of people, are getting trapped into buying it because it feels like a no-brainer. Oh, well, it's a 10% discount to TCG Player. It's still not enough of a discount, or barely enough of a discount, to like buy it and then just resell it for profit. Like, there's so much more room out there. You can go, I go broke every day. You can go broke every day buying stuff at like 70, 80%. So like, why buy it 100% for stuff that you need to wait for the market to go up on? Like, if you have the capital and or you don't have the time to actively flip, absolutely go for it. But to this, like, I'm answering very broadly and vaguely. To get more specific, me personally, my take, where I'm at, I would rather Japanese 151 than Lost Origin and Brilliant Stars. You are playing the falling knife game. You need to be a little bit careful. Like, I would just say, like, say you have 10 grand to put into. I would not recommend putting 10 grand in today. You might put 10 grand in today, and then things are up 20% on Monday, but you also might put 10 grand in today and things are down 30%. And now you've got to sit on it that much longer. Like I said, 151 could be $30 or $40 this summer. I do not remotely think it's going to be, but it could be. They could have printed that much. Maybe they've been printing this stuff since August, and that's all they've printed in Japan. Like, we have no idea. No one has any idea. So a lot of it comes down to your personal things. But like me personally, I'm putting more. And part of it too, I have 0 151 Japanese, barring what Retro bought for me last week. So I have a little bit. I have 30 or 40 boxes of Japanese 151 maybe. I have maybe 8 to 10 cases each of Lost Origin and Brilliant Stars. So that's part of it too. Like, I already have kind of my fill for those Sword and Shield sets specifically, and I don't have the 151. So I'm going more for that. Like, it's a very dependent answer on your situations and what you already have. What are you doing personally with respect to these? Have you bought any cases on Pokemon Center in the past few weeks?
No, I have not. That's a really tough one though. Yeah, I guess if you take it as what I'm doing, I'm not buying the Pokemon Center ones. But I am going to buy the Japanese 151 reprint. And part of that is just because, similar to you, I already have Lost Origin and Brilliant Stars, but I don't have any 151. But yeah, I think any of those options is going to be solid long term. If you can hold on to it long term, I think any of those options is going to be really, really good. I like the idea of Japanese 151 over English 151 because of the Master Balls. And then Brilliant Stars and Lost Origin are just two really, really good sets. So I think any one of those options is going to be good.
Yeah. And then the situation's very different too. Like, I've bought a little bit of, I forget how many cases I bought, but I bought a little bit of, because I was at like, and I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me, but say I had 7 cases of Lost Origin. I might have went and bought 1 case to get like to a nice round number of a couple Sword and Shield sets on the Pokemon Center. But I'm not like, I think some people are going like balls to the wall. I think some people are ordering a case every single day until it sells out. It's like, it might not sell out for 6 months. Like, no, again, nobody knows. Like, it will be obvious once it sells out, and once it goes to 200 on TCG Player, it will have been obvious. But nobody knows. Nobody knows when that's happening. So just be careful. Be careful if you're tying up money that could be of better use elsewhere. Opportunity cost, blah, blah, blah. But for me personally, like, are you selling that stuff? Like, what's your play? Are you looking to sell this stuff within a year? Are you looking to sit on this stuff for 5 years? Like, if I was looking to sit on this stuff for 5 years, like, I really like Shiny Treasure at 30. I like V-Star Universe a fair bit at like around the 50 point or whatever, 50 or 60, whatever I've been paying. And 151 is just like more unknown. I guess, even though it's not completely true, like Lost Origin and Brilliant Stars feel a little more known in that you're buying it at 10% below TCG Player or whatever. But 151 Japanese is a lot more unknown because, I mean, there were people pre-ordering cases last week at $100 a box, $1,200 cases, and now cases are $800, and loose boxes are in the 50s, 60s. So, yeah, don't spend your whole budget if you're going Japanese 151 is what I would lean you towards, because you might be able to, on Monday, on a week from Monday, you might be able to buy boxes at 30% cheaper than you just bought them today. So, yeah, that's all I would say. Well, it was a lot, but that's what I would say with respect to that. Respectfully, most people are quite unintelligent when they make price predictions and say it can't drop below a certain price. But the one time they're right, they'll let you know. Absolutely. Always be careful out there. It's always obvious on Monday morning what team was going to win. It's always obvious what play should have been called, and a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking in the hobby.
Yeah.
Ray is guessing it hovers between 60 to 75 for a while. His source is from a small village at the base of Mount Fuji.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm assuming that's the meme part. I'm assuming it's like it's just what I said about my April 1st video. It's him hedging his bets. It's like he can go to this in a year and he can say like, hey, look, I was right, or hey, look, I was obviously memeing. I was talking about a small village in Mount Fuji. Like, so it's a win-win because he's right either way. He can frame it a certain way.
I think that does make sense. So I would agree.
I actually did sell that Moonbryon in the short that I made a year ago. That Moonbryon was sold, but I just bought. So this coming Monday, I actually have very rarely do I film out over a week ahead of time, but I'm traveling a fair bit next week. I'm traveling this weekend to go hang out with Nick. But I have Monday's video filmed, which is my modern investment portfolio. And then I have next Monday's video filmed as well. I bought the biggest collection I've ever bought. I bought last week. Well, this week, actually. An individual reached out to me on Monday. I won't cover the whole thing because you can see the cards and hear more about it in my video a week from Monday. But yeah, 54 grand. 54 grand. It was 59 slabs. It's like a last minute Hail Mary eBay vault play. So I was able to buy at a certain percentage and they're already vault bound. He reached out to me in DMs Monday. We agreed on price Monday night. I gave him an express label. He shipped it Tuesday morning. I had it Wednesday afternoon and boom, like done. So yeah, they're already vault bound and hopefully in a week and a half they'll be there. It was wild though. Lot of Japanese promos, a lot of alt arts, a lot of highly liquid stuff, a lot of good stuff. Hopefully I can churn and burn before the vault. Last hurrah.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. We did have Java gift 10 memberships 20 minutes or so ago. Appreciate you, Java. Those get automatically starred, which is nice. So I can't lose those.
Thank you, Java.
Walrus says, after losing eBay Live, Dan is one teacher strike away to heading back to work. I will shout out Java too. I really liked his video today. He had mentioned it a few days ago, maybe last week in Discord that he had this one in the works, but it was like a day in the life. It was like one of those like vlog style videos. It's like, here's me getting out of bed way too early, 6:30 a.m. I guess he does drink. He drinks coffee. I'm not a coffee person, so I'm not a 6:30 a.m. person. But yeah, it was like one of those like wake up, showing the breakfast, showing the coffee, showing the pets, and I guess I won't detail the whole video, so you can go and check it out. But go check out Java Akuma's latest video that dropped today. It was a cool one. Day in the life of a Pokemon reseller, just taking you through his whole day. It was pretty cool.
That's cool. I haven't seen that one yet. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it was. I saw the notification come through. I saw you posted it in Discord, so I paused my cardboard hands and I went and gave that a listen. And perfect timing. I wrapped up cardboard hands with like 10 minutes to go till I hopped in here. Perfect lead in.
You hear that, Retro? Dan likes Java more than you.
See, I will do that because like I used to be one who was a lot more picky with my subscriptions, and these days I'm subscribed to a lot more now for the benefit, get that subscriber count up, whatever it may be. But now my subscription feed is like I can't keep up with it. I used to only pretty much subscribe to people that I watched every single video. So if there's like a short form video from someone that I watch pretty much all of them, I will pause a 3-hour-long video to just insert a quick 10-15 minute hitter and then get back to the 3-hour one. Otherwise, I'll just lose them. Especially traveling this weekend. I won't be watching any YouTube this weekend, so I didn't want to let that one slip through the cracks. I think my watch later is like 150 videos right now. I don't know if there's a limit. I just need to delete the whole thing. Yeah, it's crazy. I need to just delete the whole thing. Question: would you guys ever host a PokeFlipz call-in show?
I do like the idea of Jake when Jake used to do those. I thought those were they're definitely risky to some extent, letting random people on.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a really good idea, like what Jake had. I do like the idea of it, but there are some weirdos out there.
Yeah,
Sorry. One more thing along that lines. Walrus actually had a good idea. I forget which one it was, but he was saying one of the Collecticons we're supposed to record the Friday of Collecticon, and he was saying to do something like that. Have people come on for 5-10 minutes, like in person, and just talk about what they're expecting for the event and all that stuff. So like an in-person call-in show, which would be cool. But then again, the Collecticon weekends go by so quickly. Do we really want to be sitting there recording a PokeFlipz podcast?
We've talked about that before because and I've heard others talk about it before. But yeah, when you go to these events, there is like once you land, it's like there are 60 hours, there are 26 hours, however many hours counting down until you have to be at the airport again. And to cut 2 hours out of that, or maybe even do it shorter, maybe to cut an hour out of that. I've never done it. I've yet to do it. We've been at so many events together. We've had the ability to go live together or to record together. We've never done it. Maybe we never will, just because it's like, I'd rather just experience the weekend. That's part of the reason that I'm not like a vlog recording person either, which could change someday. Like the whole vendor POV thing's blowing up. Maybe I'll try to put one of those together someday. I'm not going to say never, but it's just so tough. It's so tough because it's like, I want to maximize the experience is there without like a camera being on, just like being there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's tough. Java's also getting triggered by Panga's tier list. Panga is a D tier lister. So take that, Panga. Here we go. Eric drinks water. Question for Nick. Now that PSA 10s of hyper modern sets like Paldean Fates are going for less than the cost of grading plus the raw card, even for species like Jigs and Jigs. I'm like, what's Jigs? Jigglypuff and Pidgey. Do you do more raw? I'm like, am I getting baited into? I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if I want to answer now that I'm with my competition. Dan, if you can mute yourself, please.
Yeah. I'll plug my my earbud into my ear deeper so I can hear better.
Yes, I have been doing a lot more raw than graded, especially on cards like that, because just because it makes more sense. It doesn't make sense to sell PSA 10s when I'm getting the same price that I could a raw card plus the grading fees. And a big part of that is like, say a raw card is $5. It sells for $5. Just to use that as an easy example. Whereas a PSA 10 copy of that card is $20. So $15 plus $5 for the raw card. Not only are you making the same amount of money, but you're also making less money because it costs more to ship a graded card than it does a single card. You can ship that single card eBay standard envelope for 64 cents, whereas the graded card, now you have to ship it ground advantage for $4. So I have been being a bit more selective with what I'm actually grading versus what I'm selling raw. And I have been doing a decent bit more raw over graded, and then a decent bit more on like those lower end graded cards. A lot more of that stuff is going through CGC over PSA, just because CGC it's $10 a card to grade versus PSA it's $14 a card to grade. So you kind of make up a little bit of that with the difference in grading. You can turn yourself back on, Dan, now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm free to come back. I'm back. It's like when Dave goes on his rant in the you watch Coffee Talk.
Yeah.
I like that segment where like Dan will just take his headphones off and he'll just like do some emails or something, and Dave will just go on and on. Shout out to Coffee Talks. Big fan of that too. I'm starring a bunch of funny comments, but I genuinely was not like thoroughly listening to that answer because I was like mass starring comments trying to get caught up to live. I'm still 10 minutes behind, but I'm almost there. But yeah, Grimer Collect says, Dan going to be on the Saturday OSP Live. Myself and PK, potentially Jake too. I don't know if Jake will be making his way to your house Saturday night. Maybe, maybe not.
I told him he could. I told him he's been here, so he knows how small this room is.
We'd be tight.
It's very tight.
Yeah.
we're gonna be you guys are gonna have to sit on each other's laps. I hope you know.
We're all friendly. As long as there's enough room to put down a keg. I know I'll probably have to like bend at the. I won't be able to get my feet straight up when I'm doing the keg stand when it's my turn. But as long as we're close enough to be able to fit a keg in there, a couple people, you know what I'm saying? Let's see. So yeah, I guess my own take on this. Like obviously. I didn't hear your whole answer, but like if cards are raw plus grading fee and the 10s are going for less than that, you're not sending out more of that one, right? It's like that one's done and spent for now. You'd hang on to the raw, you'd grade elsewhere. Maybe you'd go some amount, very unlikely, but like some amount of cards, depending on the quality. There might be like black label plays, maybe the pristine. But the thing is with these different grading companies, the black label, that market is nowhere near as deep. I actually was just I was auditing my eBay vault for like, hey, how many cards do I have unlisted in there of my own? I had like 25 unlisted black label Nagabas. So last night I completely forgot about them. I have all these consignor cards like passing through, churning and burning, and it's like I apparently for the past 6 months was investing in black label Nagabas because I did not have them for sale. And I just popped them all up last night, and half of them already sold. I had so many people like, oh, will you knock $10 off here, $25 off here? Will you give me a discount if I buy 10 of them? It's like, I've had 10 messages already. I just woke up, half of them already, like, buy them or don't buy them. I gave a couple little discounts here and there, but what I did was like, I had like 8 of one of them. I think I had like 8 Flareons. So I just did like 2 or 3 at 200, 2 or 3 at 225, a couple at 250, maybe 1 at 300. So it's like once I get down to my last one, I'll just hang on a little bit tighter. But for the most part, like I just want to chuck those. I actually have more Nagabas out at BGS because I figure if I pre-grade well enough, like it's still plus EV, and if I don't, like maybe BGS 9.5, BGS 10 Nagabas, maybe I can have a little bit of money clawed back through eBay Live potentially with those grading misses, but maybe those won't be good eBay Live fodder. I don't know. Kurt Smith says, Knowledge Cards promised his viewers that Brilliant Stars booster box would be sold out on Pokemon Center. It's been over a month. He lied. I would need to see a clip of that. I don't believe he promised anyone. I believe he probably said like that was. I think I've heard multiple people guess that was going to be the next one in line, probably because that one's selling for like the most on the secondary market, like TCG Player and stuff too. But again, PK is one that I've heard many times make predictions, but he's usually given the context of like, this is a guess. This is my guess. We're all guessing. I've definitely seen a lot of channels without any context, without any like throwing around the G word, without disclaiming that it's just like the real G word. No one can guarantee you anything. Everyone is guessing. That's the G word. Like everyone is guessing. That's all it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let's see. So that one's done. 707 wants to know, what are your thoughts on the market for different languages like Chinese, Spanish, etc.? Are you currently investing in any or focusing on English only? So I'll say that Japanese is what this, like that whole, like there's always the Japanese versus the English debate. Japanese is the true first edition, right? Like this is a Japanese IP. Japanese is what comes out first. English comes out later. English is all reprints. So Japanese and English are 90% plus of your market. Whatever other language you're looking at, they are significantly more niche than Japanese and English just inherently. I don't do a lot. Like years ago, I was actually churning and burning like like I did well because you could buy base set first edition German for like $500 back when I was buying Fossil and Jungle for like $400 or $500. So I was buying a ton of it then and just doing like plays off it. I was just like buying, grading, flipping, and moving on to the next one. I have no like long-term positions in Chinese or any other language. It's all Japanese and English for me. But I do make the periodic, somebody on Instagram hits me up like, hey, I can get 100 of XYZ Chinese promo. Like I actually have some Chinese One Piece promos, Chinese New Year that I've been selling through my eBay. I graded a bunch, did really well with those. And well, the black labels I did really well with, not so much the other ones. But yeah, so I like will make niche flip plays in different languages, but I primarily keep the longer term stuff, the higher volume stuff in English and Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm mainly English, a little bit of Japanese, and then a very little bit of Chinese. I did just buy a decent bit of Chinese, like the tag teams, Sword and Shield alt darts, and stuff like that, to see how they would do on the lives. And they've been going decent. Not as great as I was hoping. But yeah, English and Japanese for sure. Primarily English for me, just because that's what I like more.
I like this little so Retro asked, who's buying dinner in Orlando? Dan ? And Swami says, sounds like you are with all the 151s Dan's bought off you, Retro. So I'm very much on board with that. I know talk with Retro quite a bit. He's doing pretty well right now. He's wholesaling a bunch of 151 and various products right now. The FOMO is real. Like, pop into Discord. I'm not really on Reddit. I'm not really on Facebook, but like, I'm sure the Reddit groups, I'm sure the Facebook groups, I'm sure that everyone is FOMOing out there, catching those falling knives, trying their best to catch those falling knives with 151. It is every week has like a different thing that steals the show, and 151, at least for the past couple days, is really the big thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I'll make a video about it eventually. Collectibles. That's the one. I was trying to think of what it was. He was actually a tier list that was suggested for cardboard. Not cardboard hands, for box nostalgia. I'm losing track of all these different podcast names, but a cereal tier list, that will be a fun one to tune into. A cereal tier list. Ponga said it's on the list. Looking forward to that one. I know we've talked about cereal so many times on this podcast over the years. We've talked about what you do with the milk afterwards. I think we've talked about milk first, cereal first. We've covered it from all angles, but a nice old-fashioned cereal tier list will be fun.
That'll be a good one.
Ernesto says Retro's favorite movie is The Notebook. What is yours, Old School?
It's a solid choice, Retro. It does get you every time you watch it. Best movie though, huh? I would have to go with probably Shawshank Redemption as my favorite movie.
I'm so bad at picking favorites. Like I don't even know. It's so hard to just pick like one. It's hard to pick one, like literally thousands of, well, how many are out there? Tens of thousands or 100,000. I don't know. But I've seen several hundred, thousands of movies, maybe. I don't even know. I forget. I was listening to some content recently. I've been trying to do like a lot of non-Pokemon content. I've been listening to more finance content. I've been listening to more just like general life like just general podcasts about like nothing. Like Tosh Show has a pretty cool podcast that he just does with like random people in his life. Somewhere recently, somebody mentioned this. Where was I going with that? I got lost on where I was going with that. But So someone mentioned this thing of like everyone had those like whether it was VHSs, depending on your age, whether it was VHSs or DVDs, everyone growing up had those like 5 go-to movies that you own the DVD, maybe you own the VHS, maybe you bought the pay-per-view, and you like recorded it onto a VHS. Some of my like favorite movies that I can go back and watch just a million times. I've already watched them a million times. Like right up there would be like Happy Gilmore. I've seen that movie so many times.
That's a good one.
It's just like it brilliantly done. I actually heard relatively recently, I think they're doing a sequel. I'll be interested to see what they do with that. I know Adam Sandler's been rattling off the Netflix movies, but that was a really interesting thing because like I have a handful of like maybe 5 movies that in my youth, in my childhood, I just for whatever reason, those were like the 5 DVDs or VHSs that I had in my room, and I would watch them over and over. It's like the day that you're homesick from school and you just feel like garbage and you don't want to get out of bed. You play some video games, maybe you pop a DVD and you try to nap. I had iRobot on DVD. I don't think it's like an amazing movie, but for whatever reason, that's just like one movie that I popped in a bunch. I watched. I have that funny quote too from I was like quoting my logic is undeniable that Swami clipped on that one stream where Jake and I just degen for like 7 hours straight having beers. That movie Triple X with what's his name? How can I not think of his name? His name's Xander Cage in the movie.
I don't think I've ever even seen this movie.
It's just like a generic action movie. Vin Diesel. Yeah, Vin Diesel is Xander Cage in that movie. It's not like an amazing movie, but it's like a decent action movie. For whatever reason, I had that movie and it said Triple X on it. Maybe I thought it was something else, and maybe I don't know what the story was there, but no, like genuinely, that was a movie.
What did you think it was?
Yeah, no. It is an interesting name for a movie, though, right? Kind of a risky name for a movie, or maybe it's brilliant marketing to name your movie that, because then you'll get some extra sales from people who don't know what they're buying, thinking they're buying something else. But anyways, like that's just one of those movies. I haven't watched it in years, but I could pop that movie on like tonight. I could watch that movie. I would be able to quote so many lines. I would enjoy it. Like it's just one of those movies that like it's a brainless movie to have on that I just really enjoy. And like Happy Gilmore would probably be at the top of that list though if I had to pick one. So Retro goes Notebook, Nick goes Shawshank Redemption, and I go Happy Gilmore with a nice long tangent about what I was going to end that with. Do you have a list of like 3 to 5 movies that have like no cohesion, that like aren't your favorite movies ever? Like Happy Gilmore, I'm saying is a top 20 movie for me of all time. Like Triple X is not, iRobot is not. Those are just like some of those movies that I happen to watch over and over. Do you have any movies like that like they're not in your top 50 even, but you watched them a million times and you would watch them again and enjoy them?
The standout one for me would be Jaws. That I'll watch that at least once a year. Aside from that, I'm not sure. Shawshank would be another one, but that's my favorite. Movies wise, not so much. More so TV shows that I'll go back and watch, like The Office, King of Queens. I'm rewatching Seinfeld. Those types of shows I'll watch every. I watched The Office in college, and then again when I was on the ship, and then again recently. So those types of shows I'll watch over and over. But movies, there's not too many movies that I'll watch over and over again.
Look, for me, similarly with shows, it's like The Office is probably right up there. As like, I wouldn't say like first watch through it was my favorite show of all time. More along those lines, depending on where you cut them off. Maybe if you knock off the last season or two of certain shows, obviously shows can go downhill. But like Dexter, I really love Dexter. I can't really watch it again though. Like that was one of the ones that's more like a one and done. A lot of the type of movies that I like to watch are like the psychological thrillers with like the big twist. You don't see it coming. Those ones are more like watch them once. Some of my like top movies would be movies that I've watched one and done, but I really enjoyed them. Really like edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen next. And but then there's like those timeless movies, those timeless shows that you can just watch over and over and over. Like Breaking Bad, I really liked. I've still never watched Better Call Saul, but I do want to see that.
That was a pretty good show. I like that one.
I got to check that one out. I just actually recently watched. I really enjoyed it. James, with respect to like the analogies that you can draw to like maybe even today's Pokemon market, but definitely 2021's Pokemon market. The not The Big Short, but Margin Call. Margin Call. I just watched the other night. I've actually.
Oh, you just saw that the other night?
I literally just saw it the other night. So many memes get posted in Discord. So many clips, so many GIFs get posted in Discord. And I'm like, I've got to watch this movie. One thing that I plan to do in the coming weeks and months, like I usually have 1.5x YouTube on in the background of my entire workday. I'm going to start like watching some TV shows. I'm going to start watching the thing is, it's got to be something I'm only half watching. But I half watched Margin Call, and I still like, I think I was doing like an eBay vault entry, which is pretty mindless. So it was easy to pay attention to the movie and like not be too slowed down. But I really like that movie. Not that it's a top 20 movie of all time, but I really like the movie, and that doesn't really fit with like the whole thriller thing. But just the analogies that I could make to like the Pokemon market, and really interesting movie. But not really one that I would watch 50 times though either. But I don't think to rank a favorite movie of all time, like it doesn't need to be something you'd want to watch 50 times either.
Yeah.
Little bit of nuance in the favorite movie conversation, because there's got to be. I haven't been watching. I'm not set up. Let me actually get my live chat set up so I can watch the live comments as they come in, because I've not been paying attention at all.
Oh,
I've been bad.
Goodness, Dan's ignoring all you guys.
I know I've been really, really bad. I'm trying to be. It's so hard to like. You're talking about the eBay live stream, all the things you got to keep up with. Like for me to be starring comments as we go, hearing what you're actually saying, thinking about what I'm going to say next. Like, I don't think, Nick, you appreciate what I'm doing over here, being the one behind the scenes running the StreamYard. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit unappreciated.
I get to sit back and take my afternoon nap.
I know. Inglourious Basterds. That was a really good movie. Really good movie.
That's a good one. That's a good one too.
Ratatouille is the best. Nick disappoints me yet again.
Walrus, you would say
that. Can you get Ernie to call in and entertain us? Would rather watch him eat pizza. Billy Madison is up there too. I definitely have watched Happy Gilmore way more than I've watched Billy Madison. So like Happy Gilmore tugs at the nostalgia heartstrings a lot more than Billy Madison. But like, yeah, like 90s, like Big Daddy, I watched a bunch. Little Nicky, I actually watched a bunch too. Like 90s, maybe a little bit early 2000s. Adam Sandler. That's some good cinema right there.
Oh yeah. But no, Happy Gilmore is way better than Billy Madison.
Here we go. We have the director of Buy It Now consignments at Z&G Emporium here, Cam. Nick, how much are you getting paid for this? I'm certain your time is more valuable than talking about Happy Madison being a good movie and iRobot being an okay movie. You could be a millionaire. Hey, Cam, don't you have some eBay vault consignments to take care of? Come on now.
It's true, Cam. It's true. I'm just wasting away over here.
I mean, he has director in his title. This is literally a millionaire. It's like Nat, you're a billionaire. Why are you answering my IG DMs? Cam, you're a multi-deca millionaire. Why are you posting in this PokeFlipz podcast, Director Cam?
Director.
but what's the answer to his question though? I'll let you get to that.
Not getting paid anything.
Hey, we I mean, after we pay our StreamYard subscription, so that we don't have the duck up in the corner, I think we're netting a healthy $2 per episode each after all said and done. So solid $1 an hour over here. Dan relating to iRobot is the most Dan thing to say. Maybe there's a reason why I kind of had an affinity.
Why you like that movie.
As I said it, I was waiting for someone else to say it, but I definitely do have an affinity. My people, as he watches it. It is interesting though. Like going back to that movie because I've watched it 50 times. When Sonny, the robot's name, he's asking Will Smith's character like. Because Will Smith's like, can you create art? And we're at like the precipice of like this AI, this whole AI thing that's breaking through, and people are talking about how can you use AI in your business and this and that. Had some interesting conversations on that the other night in Discord voice with Squeaks and some others. I'm using that Opus clip thing. Maybe I'll feed in. It would make us negative EV if I were to start feeding in, using up my Opus credits on PokeFlipz. But basically, you feed this AI Opus Clips tool a long form video, and it creates like 30 clips from it, and it gives them a virality score. It rates you on like the hook, and it rates you on the. It's really interesting. Within like minutes, you can feed it a 2-hour long video, and it will tell you, like, obviously, like, it's not guaranteed. It's not gonna, oh, this is guaranteed to get you 1 million views, but it's a very interesting thing. And I've not done a whole lot with AI, but going back to that movie, it's like we're on the precipice of like so many massive changes to the world coming, content and art and all these different things with respect to AI. So yeah, I haven't watched that movie probably in 5 or 10 years. I'm gonna have to give it a watch again soon. Yeah. So Tom,
yeah,
best.
That's
best
the name of the show.
Yep. I just said it an hour ago, maybe 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
That's actually a really intriguing thing to me. Like, obviously, we've grown accustomed to like the whole CollectCon. Nick falling asleep over there. We've are we keeping you up, Nicholas? We've grown accustomed, or at least I have, to like the getting on a plane, traveling, hotel stay for the whole weekend, and it's Friday and it's Saturday and it's Sunday. That's just Collecticon though. Then you have the National, which is like Thursday to Sunday. There's quite a slate of shows that are Friday to Sunday, 3 days. I have local shows relatively close to me. I'm within an hour of Syracuse. I'm within an hour and a half of Albany. I haven't checked out any of them yet. I went to the one with you and Jake in New Hampshire, like a 4-hour drive for me. I'm going to the one for like an hour tomorrow. That's like a 4-hour drive. It's like I need to take an hour drive to Syracuse and check out one of these shows, because like it's such a low hurdle, and I've not climbed over that hurdle yet. At some point, I definitely will. I'll maybe try to, if I don't make vlog style seller POV, vendor POV, whatever, I'll try to at least talk about it in a live stream, like what I experienced. But yeah, maybe we'll see a couple people that are watching right now. Maybe we'll see a couple people tomorrow. Hopefully, come say hi. I'll only be there. Like, I might be getting there at 12:30. I might be getting there at 1. I don't really know. We'll see. I'll probably just be meeting you guys at the end of it. Not really looking to buy anything. More just looking for the degeneracy Saturday night.
Well, good. There won't be anything left for you to buy by the time you get there. All the good deals will be gone. But yeah, it is a weird. I don't know why they do 8:30 to 1:30. That is such a weird timing. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like the idea of that. I would much rather it be like 10 or 11 to 5 or something like that. 8:30 in the morning is just ungodly early.
It is pretty early. When I went to that Stein show was actually
probably started
7 a.m. I think. I think it was 7 a.m. till
Jesus.
They said 1 p.m., but we were wrapped up. I'm actually seeing right now. Hopefully, I'm coming through fine, but I'm seeing the one bar that my connection is a little unstable. So hopefully, we're coming through fine. I do have T-Mobile home internet, hardwired, but it is a inherently wireless service. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it's coming through fine.
Fine to me still.
It's actually already gone, but it popped up for that was the first time since I've had home internet the past few weeks that I've seen any kind of a issue. Maybe the neighbors just fired up their home internet. Maybe they just popped on iRobot on Netflix or something. I don't know. But yeah, I really do plan later this year at some point to try and get to a local show. I'll be interested to see. I've seen a little bit of content. I know Jake and Jake
Dylan?
has those. What's their name?
Dylan?
No, not Jake's partner, but Jake's friends, the couple there. Collectible Tags.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think I've seen videos of theirs on YouTube or maybe like Instagram shorts of this show, because this show's like it happens every month, I believe. Like it's the third Saturday or whatever. Maybe it's not even a fixed like number of Saturdays every month. Maybe it's just a different date every month, but I think it's a once a month thing. I know those things happen in Syracuse and Albany too, so I'll have to check them out at some point. Probably smaller than one near Boston would be, but it'll still be interesting.
Yeah, this and Wonderland are two regular. I'll just ask it. I had a question for Tom actually, because I've never been to this one. Is there much Pokemon there, or is it mainly sports? So now we're asking our viewer questions.
Yeah, gotta have a little bit of back and forth. Really getting that engagement.
Because I know they do. I know they do like a big TCG show every twice a year or something. But I think the normal shows are mainly sports with some Pokemon. Oh, Tom says this is a lot better than Wonderland, in my opinion, like 50-50. Well, that is good to know, because I do like the Wonderland show. I've been that's another local show that I've been going to. Again, it's once a month. That's more TCG. And there's a good selection of Pokemon there. I do like that show, but I'm excited to check this show out. That's cool. There will be a lot, 20 to 25 Pokemon vendors.
Oh,
so
wow.
That'll be really good. I'm excited.
Retro said, I just got to the part where Dan said he liked Java more than me. At first, I'm like, what's he talking about? When I paused Cardboard Hands to go watch Java's video. So your average player says, what are some American things I need to try? I've been to America before, but that was a long time ago. Anything new I should be aware of prepping my bulletproof vest? Deep fried Oreos, deep fried Twinkies. I don't know that any if there's a state fair going on when you're here, there probably won't be, but like just eat like 10,000 calories each day that you're here and get the full American experience. That's what I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Any further suggestions? Or I see some people helping them out in the comments too.
Go to McDonald's, go to Burger King.
Little Caesars, maybe get a hot and ready.
He's never gonna come back to America. Already prepping my palate for fried butter.
I mean, that sounds pretty good.
Have you ever had that? I cannot see that tasting good at all. No. That sounds so like, ugh, I can't do it.
I've probably had some things.
Did you ever eat like when your mom put butter on vegetables as a kid? You just like take the thing of butter, the pat of butter, and eat it. I used to do that all the time as a kid. Now, I almost throw up just thinking of that.
See, I'm a big, like, when I eat a steak, I eat all the fat with it. I don't necessarily just like eat all the fat, like straight fat alone at once. But like if I get a prime rib, a lot, like I guess I say a lot of people. Some people will, same as me, eat it all. Some people will just like give back half the steak. They'll cut off anything that looks remotely fatty. And that's like my wife and stuff. But that's why she orders filet, because there's no fat on it. But when you're eating like a bite of fat, especially if you say you buy like a Wagyu steak, I bought a little bit of Wagyu and cook that up, you're almost just eating like meat butter. It's just like meat butter at that point. And I can't do a lot of it, but like I would say maybe a bite of deep fried butter, not like a whole deep fried stick of butter on a stick, like eating the whole thing, but like, you know, maybe one like quarter-sized piece of deep fried butter. That would probably hit. That would probably hit.
I don't know. I can't see it. I don't know.
Peak That Tree says we'll have to find something to replace the stop sign. Dan's become immune to it. Am I missing stop sign questions? I don't think I am. I still have a few questions.
We can't see the emojis in StreamYard.
I can see the stop sign. Some emojis don't come through. So, some emojis come through as like colon, smiling face, but stop sign comes through for whatever reason. I do see.
Oh, so well, yeah, the stop sign just came through in that question.
I've had this question for 30 minutes. I've had it starred, Peak That Chew. So he was just getting bummed because it was asked 30 minutes ago. First, how are you legends? Question, Is there a price point of Japanese 151 that you purchase as many as you possibly can? If it went to 30, I would buy a lot. Like 30, I would not go so far to say that 30 would be the guaranteed bottom. But if you do the math, like what let me do the math quickly. Isn't a normal set MSRP 4,500 yen? If you do 4,500 yen to USD, it's $29. So that's retail. If 151 gets to retail, I would buy a ton. That said, though, say retail's 30. I mean, I don't know for sure, but we buy stuff in the US for 60% of retail. We buy wholesale. That means that these Japanese sellers, these buying direct from distribution, they're probably paying about $20 a box. So if it ever got into the 20s, and we see right now a specialty set that has a slightly higher premium for MSRP, Shiny Treasure's 30. I mean, Shiny Treasure's high 20s right now. Shiny Treasure's at MSRP, maybe slightly below. So I don't think it ever will, but if 151 got to $30 a box, I would think about buying 1,000 boxes. I would think about having a pallet. I think a pallet of Japanese boxes would more be like 2,000 boxes. I don't know that I could afford to get a whole pallet, but I would be working on. I would start working on filling a pallet of 151 if pending cash flow, pending all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, at today, what are we at? We're at 60 a box ish. Today I'm buying some amount. At 50, I'm buying more than that. At 40, I'm buying more than that. At 30, I'm buying a lot more than that. But nobody knows.
Yeah, I would say similar. I don't know if I would quite go the pallet route. Because I would say there is a point where enough is enough. But because again, I would still like to diversify more and not have so much in one product, but be able to spread that out over different things. Thinking more so not for long term. Thinking more so for live inventory. It's not going to do me any good having 10,000 boxes of 151 and nothing of anything else.
Oh, we got Dylan in here watching. Lay tips Fedora. I'm Dylan. I
did not know you were Dylan. Good to see you in here, Dylan.
Nice to see you in here. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, even though it won't be for a long time. Well, unless you come to lunch. I don't know what we're going to be doing for lunch exactly, but I'd imagine after the show we'll be getting something to eat. So hopefully be able to hang out a little bit. So this is one of those emojis. Our emojis do not come through. It says KAC Pixar Nick. Question, Dan, Nick, what has been the lowest pop non-trophy card that you both have personally graded? Years ago, when I was doing my venture of opening every English box, I opened a Neo Discovery. I pulled a Yanma, and I graded one of the ugliest PSA 10s you'll ever see. It was a PSA 8. It had white dots. It had a print line. It was the reason the card was pop 2 at the time. I graded the third Yanma, an English set card. I believe the pop today is closer to 20. I don't think it's 20, but it's definitely double digits. But I graded the third one.
Man.
As far as there are definitely random Skyridge reverse hollows, Aquapolis reverse hollows. There are random cards that I've popped one, English set cards, but a lot less mainstream. When you're talking an English chase card, a hollow, not that Yen was a chase, but an English hit card from a main set. That's the most mainstream super low pop card I've ever graded.
For me, I don't think I've ever graded anything that low. I've graded. I have graded a 9 pre-release Fable. That was probably the most low pop thing I've graded. But I think even those are 20, 30. And then I graded an 8 no damage Ninetales. Pop on those, I have no idea. But aside from that, I don't think it's been anything Anything too crazy low.
I'm looking up my Yanma right now. I remember at the time I listed it as a buy it now and nobody bid, but I had a few like I remember who ultimately bought it. I think it went for auction higher than I had it listed buy it now. It was one of those things where like people wanted it, they really wanted it, but they thought I priced it a little bit too high. So it's like I just got to get like I know I've got the Titans watching this one. I know I've got like the WotC master like completionists watching. So I auctioned it and it went for like I want to say it was either a little over $2 or a little over $3,000, which at the time was like insane. Like that was so much money back then. I mean, relative to today, it's like, oh, $2,000 for a PSA 10 WotC, like super low pop WotC card. It's like, who cares? It's pop 14 today. So it's still really high. But
I remember that had its own E4 thread. Because you did not see them come up for sale.
No, yeah, that was a really tough card. I'm trying to look at 10s. I'm seeing if PSA has. Yep, PSA has my sale. October 1st, 2017 for $2,286. Which in 2017, $2,286 was a lot of money. I don't know off the top of my head, but like what a PSA 9 base first edition Charizard was going for. I actually want to look it up now, just out of curiosity.
And then while you're doing that, shout out to Peak for his live coming up on
This
Sunday.
Sunday.
That's going to be a really good one. Peak, Leonhardt, Charlie, and Gem Mint going live. I think it's 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m.,
Really,
10 p.m., something like that.
Really looking forward to that. Yeah, if one of our mods could find that link and share it. So just for context, that was October 1st, 2017. I'm looking at Pokemon price right now. I sold a Yanma Pop 3 for $22.86 in October of 2017. A PSA 9 base first edition Charizard was like $3,000 to $4,000. So yeah, that's had you put money into one of them, I don't know what the Yanma's done lately, but I don't think it's kept pace with what the PSA 9 base first Charizard
is. I can't imagine.
No. But yeah, it I guess it was around $4,000, it looks like, the PSA 9 base first Charizard. And at the time, that was completely like where my mind was. It's like I know this is only 3 in the world. I know there's probably hundreds of people like however many people that want to complete WotC all in PSA 10 first edition. Zach's not the only madman who's trying to do that, but to me, like I always valued, like give me more PSA 9s, give me that base first Charizard, and that's where I've always been.
Yeah.
Here's one from Max Power. Hey guys, what do you think is the best way to pack a binder collection to ship? Not loose pages, but the binder where the pages are stitched together. So I've bought massive binder collections. A lot of the ones that I've bought are like those typical 3-ring binders, which is a little scary. It's a little scary to have a big valuable collection shipped in 3-ring binders. But any which way, I would put pressure on it. So I might have one. Maybe I don't have one. I have this one I can show. But like, say you're looking at a binder like this, the risk and the issue, I don't think I have any. Yeah, I don't have anything in this one. These are side loading, which I like a little bit better generally. But I would try to I would put this inside of a padded envelope, and I would try to ensure that it was packed really tight, almost so that there was some pressure on the whole binder, so that things weren't wanting to have the ability to like slide out. Things still possibly could. What I've done recently, and actually it's not 100% concrete, but I think I have a massive alt art binder collection coming in soon that I'll be purchasing, which I'll definitely make a video on if it happens. I'm excited that it might happen. But I usually would ask them like, hey, 90% of the value is going to be in like 5 to 10% of the cards. Like go through, pull out the Moonbreon, pull out the Rayquaza, pull out the Gengar, like pull out at least 50 of the highest end, put them in card savers. So I would pull out the big value and I would ship those in card savers in a small box inside of the bigger package. And I would just focus on like sandwiching the binder best you can. I remember that massive collection I bought a year and a half ago that had like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and blah blah blah. He went through. He actually taped over. It made it kind of a pain to like unbinder everything, but it made it so things couldn't slide out in the mail. He went through and he taped a piece of paper tight over where each, like, not just the tops, because on a 3-ring binder you could like make sure the top third of cards don't fall out by just putting something over the top, wrapping it tightly and taping it. But then you got to worry about the middles and the bottoms, right? He went through like page by page for all the big hit pages at least, and he like taped each one shut.
Jeez.
But like with paper over it so the tape wasn't getting on the card. Like, spent a lot of time. I mean, it was a $50,000 collection buy, so maybe he spent 5 or 10 hours doing it, but it was probably justified, right? So I guess that's my contribution to the question. I would focus on getting the big value out and doing those in card savers, and I would focus on pressure against it so that things ideally can't slide.
Yeah, I was gonna say take the big cards out of the binder, and then just pack the binder in between 2 pieces of cardboard, wrap it up with some like saran wrap, wrap it up in some bubble wrap, throw it in a box.
Dan Felix says, it feels like eBay is really pushing their promoted listings advanced feature. It is something that really confuses me. Is it worth manually setting up my own campaign where you input keywords? I tried it once and I got wrecked. So my effective cost of sale was like 30%. I think I paid like $200 and I sold like $600 worth of stuff. So if you just do the math on that, like had I done the simple standard promoted and put 30% on it, I would have sold way more than $600 worth of stuff. So I got kind of wrecked. I went with their suggested thing. I was supposed to have a call with eBay, a meeting with eBay like a few months back talking about that. I was going to give them some amount of budget and they were going to like create a thing for me and see how it went. They just like ghosted me on that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they went back to the drawing board but I would be cautious with the promoted listings advanced because I've only heard bad things about it from a few people, like all anecdotes, but like rough anecdotes.
Yeah, I've never tried it. I don't think I ever will. Paying per click, I don't like that idea.
Me neither. I like paying when the results are there. I like paying per sale.
Yes. Because like I know even myself, I'll do it. Like click on a listing for a second, take a quick look at the picture, realize it's not what I want, and then leave that listing. I don't want to be paying for someone to do that. Yeah, and I'm sure that's what the majority of people are doing.
So Java asks, anyone know a ballpark price for a temp controlled storage unit? That's one of those things. It's like real estate, location. Are we talking? I think I know he's somewhere in the Carolinas, right? He's somewhere relatively close to Charlotte, but out by me, you could probably get a lot of storage units near me are like some of them are non-electric, no climate control, but then there are some climate controlled ones. I know the super cheap ones, no climate control. You can get like probably an 8x8x8 for like a few bucks, not a few bucks a month, as in like $3 a month, but for like $50 a month or less, maybe. Like I feel like some of them are super reasonable. Temperature controlled, I've never looked into that, but I'd imagine they'd be a fair bit more. But that's gonna. Are you in Chicago or are you out in the woods in rural Tennessee or something? Like that's gonna vary so much based on your zip code.
Yeah, I pay. What do I have? What even is it? It's like I think it's 8x5. It's like a rectangle. And it's $100 a month.
Storage units, I actually know. I know a couple people who own storage units. Like I have one relatively right around the corner from me, and it's one of those like my dad has talked about, like someday just throwing up some storage units. It's not passive income by any means, but a little bit. It's like kind of like being a landlord, but it's way less strict, way less regulations, and way less like risk with respect to having tenants that go unpaid. And because it's not where someone lives, ideally you don't have anyone living out of their storage unit. Maybe you run into that from time to time. But yeah, I've looked into it very minimally as like some potential long-term project. It's like the numbers could potentially be there as far as like selling it. But I've never gone into renting space, and I hopefully will never have to. Hopefully I don't have, I guess I'm renting space at Troll and Toad. I'm paying them like storage fees, but I guess that's the limit for what I'd do. Dylan says, yeah, you'd never guess from this degenerate username. Nice to see you guys. Jake told me you guys were coming just this morning. Looking forward to it. So I'm almost fully caught up. Walrus says, oh, so Nick respects other people's employees. Sounds like we might have an expose coming out from a old school Pokemon disgruntled former employee.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think we're no, I'm still 10 minutes behind, but I'm looking for more questions.
Goodness.
We got Spicy Boys TV. I'm sure the most genuine question we've ever had asked. How many no damage yawn tails did you grade yourself?
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe you own 50. How many were bot graded? How many were graded by yourself?
The majority were bot graded. I might have graded maybe five or six. Not many at all. I know I graded my first two, and then I bought in a few raw ones over the years, but not many at all.
And Ponga's saying to take the cards out of the binder. Unbindering cards is very tedious and annoying. I actually my sister used to babysit my kids, and when she had my nephew, when he was not yet in school, she was kind of like doing side gigs and stuff like that, and she'd work for me a little bit here and there. She has a 9-to-5 now, so not so much lately, but I remember when I bought that collection a year and a half ago, it was like 25,000 cards or maybe even more than that. Maybe it was towards 50,000 cards altogether. I paid her to unbinder everything. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. I sent her home with a carload of binders, and like every week she'd come, she'd just bring like a little bit more of it that had been unbindered. And I talking to Retro, like I had her unbinder some DBZ scorecards that were like $1,000, and I instructed her like put XYZ into penny sleeves as you unbinder it. A lot of the best stuff was already in penny sleeves, but some of it, me not knowing what it was, her having no clue what it was, like some very valuable cards ended up being unbindered. And same thing with that collection. He actually pulled like the juice of the juice. Like he pulled the best, the cream of the crop. Those were sent in card savers. But like the amount of $500 cards, $1,000 cards that weren't even penny sleeved, they got put into bulk boxes, like that collection was insane. Oftentimes people will say like a once in a lifetime collection buy. I don't think I'll ever buy a collection. I think that one was truly once in a lifetime as far as like the amount of dead TCG, just absolute fire, the diversity of it all too. Because it was in so many TCGs, it was crazy. Like I just spent more money, but it was on 59 slabs. It was on this one isn't mine. This is a consignment, but one of these was in there. One of these was 5,000 of the $54,000.
That'll go quick. Those have been selling so quickly.
This year I've probably sold. I'll have to when the eBay vault is done and over with, I'll have to do like a post-mortem. I'll have to do a little bit of a recap and cry myself to sleep that night. I probably will have sold 10 of these, maybe 12 of these by the time the eBay vault's done. I have 2 on my desk right now that are not mine. These are consignments. I have my own from that collection that went out this morning. So hopefully mine will sell. These ones are going out Monday morning. Hopefully mine will sell in the 2-day span before these ones go live. But yeah, I think I've sold 3 or 4 of my own. And then there's these 3 going in. And I've sold at least 3 or 4. I just sold one yesterday on behalf of a consignor, I believe, for $5,500. I know James bought a couple and he sold them within a couple days. Like, man, the liquidity, pivoting from talking about that collection that I bought and the lack of liquidity and a lot of that niche stuff, the liquidity in Pokemon, at least today, all this FOMO, all these falling knives of 151, man, I cannot believe the liquidity of this stuff right now. And that's not guaranteed to last forever, but it is hot right now. It is. We are booming still.
Oh yeah.
Retro asked for a Lil Will shout out, and Walrus obliged. Retro has a little, which I'm a big proponent of, having a bunch of plush. That actually reminds me. Just the other day, I was talking to him in Discord, and it said all the time. I might make a short about it. I might make a video about it someday. Dan, I'll make a video about it later. Collectibles. The thing that gets thrown around all the time, top grossing media franchise of all time, however many hundred something billion dollars. I think it would blow a lot of people's minds to realize that TCG is like 10 or 11% of Pokemon's top line gross. As far as like, if it's probably lower margin. It's only 11% of their top line gross. And to be like, being real, it's like, do you think they're making more? Well, the profit margins are insane on both. Do you make more money selling a tiny little $16 plush, or do you make more money selling shiny paper for $100 and whatever dollars, right? So I think the profit margins are insane on both of them. They make way more money though selling merch, like almost an order of magnitude higher. Like I think it was like 11% was TCG. I actually could try to just pull it up. I don't know if you saw where I posted it in Discord the other day.
I'm not on Discord nowadays. I wonder about the secondary market though. Like obviously Pokemon selling boxes for whatever, probably, yeah, I don't know, $60, whatever, to distributors. But what if you took the secondary market and compared it to the video games, the plushies, all that stuff? I wonder in that case, what does better?
Yeah, definitely there would be a much bigger secondary market for the cardboard. Like there's a little bit of a secondary market for plushes. Most of that though is just retail to consumer. That is literally just consumed, never to be sold again. No grading of that yet. Maybe someday. But I'll be in a good position if they ever start grading sitting cuties before all the buyouts. Okay, I just found it. So these are very approximate numbers. Maybe I could get this on screen actually. Well, let's see if I can get this on screen. Present, share screen. Window, boom. Okay, so top 25 highest grossing media franchises of all time. I just cropped it. Like Pokemon's the highest. So this is as of a few years ago. I want to say that, yeah, this is at least a few years old. But as of 1996 to whenever this was a few years ago, Pokemon had sold 92.121 billion total. Merchandise is yellow. So merchandise was 61 billion of 92 billion. That's almost exactly 2/3. So 67% is straight merch. That's you go on Pokemon Center, all the Van Gogh stuff. I don't know if they include like they say trading cards is orange. I don't know if deck sleeves and playmats and things like that would go into merch or if they would go into trading cards. Not entirely sure, but t-shirts and plushes and those $400 massive plushes. I got my Snorlax looking at me over there over my screen. That's where the bulk of the money is made. Obviously, video games are the I believe the red here, or the whatever color that is. So video games, obviously, they sell tens of millions of copies of every game. and yeah, orange is our trading cards there. So I think that would come as a surprise. I could be wrong, but I think that would come as a surprise to a lot of us that, like, in our bubble of our cardboard bubble that we're in, a lot of people would probably think that, like, this is everything to me, so this is everything to everyone.
Mhm.
It's only 11% of the total gross market. So interesting there.
That is pretty wild when you think about it.
We are at 3:21. I just realized. Probably going to try to wrap up in the next 10 minutes because I'm going to be Massachusetts bound very shortly. So yeah, let me speed read here. Let's see.
PK's calling you out. He was a guest on PokeFlipz. Where's his plushie?
I mentioned that I was gonna do that, and then that stopped very quickly. I have the Lugia for Cam. I have the Chestnut for Echo. I have the Bidoof for Walrus. I think the Zapdos was Greenie. The Ninetales for you. That ended. Oh yeah, I have the Trubbish. I have the Trubbish for Ray.
Oh, that's right. I was gonna say, who's the Trubbish for?
I should, yeah, I need to get a Raichu for PK, and I slacked on that. I did not follow through with that.
Yeah, you should have a whole shelf filled up by now.
UAP says, do you think it's realistic that eBay can buy Whatnot? They're a public company. I don't know what Whatnot's valuation is, but actually I was just talking with Retro last night in a voice chat. I think he said eBay as of like fiscal 2022, so it was a couple-year-old data. I think they had a couple billion cash on hand. I don't think eBay will buy Whatnot. I don't know what Whatnot has been valued at or whatever. During the boom, I think Whatnot was being valued at like a few billion. So probably where they wouldn't have enough cash on hand to buy it. But now that I'm potentially going into eBay Live, it's like, man, eBay buys Whatnot or Whatnot buys eBay Live. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's probably going to die somehow.
Yeah, thanks. Just kill my business, will ya?
I think it would
be.
They'll stay separate. I think.
I don't know if it ever could happen because I think Whatnot's almost too big at this point. But I think it would be really, really smart for eBay to do that because Whatnot just does it so much better than eBay. eBay is just not there yet, and I don't know why it's so difficult to get on Whatnot's level, but they are slacking in terms of like how fluid things move. Like the bidding process is so smooth on Whatnot, yet eBay cannot figure out how to make that a smooth function.
Hopefully they'll get it sorted, but there's been so many surprising acquisitions that I guess I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be a little surprised if eBay were, or vice versa, if Whatnot were to like buy eBay Live or something.
What did you think about? Obviously, we know about the eBay vault going to PSA. What did you think about eBay getting Golden? That made no sense to me. I feel like eBay got screwed in that end of the deal.
Yeah.
What does eBay need Golden for?
I guess they can make a lot more. It's like, why they cap their fee on trading cards at 2.5%, 3%, whatever it is, above 2,500. So it's like, oh, instead of making that, why don't we make 12% above 2,500 with our 22% Golden buyer's premium and then 110% of hammer, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. It felt weird. I don't know what the play is. It'll be interesting to see how they integrate long term. I've talked to a couple people, I guess, at eBay and Golden that gave me a smidge of insight as to what the play might be, but so many things can change, and I guess we'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Grimer wants to know, do y'all think vendor POV content drives more traffic to cons and local shows? I mean, to me, questions like this are like an obvious yes. Like, vendor POV content existing can't make less people want to go to shows, I don't think. Like, a lot of it's just inherently positive and good and like spreading, but like how much is the actual question? How much, like, is Collecticon attendance going to go up 50% because of it? I don't think so. But like, will some people, oh man, like that went like that Bulbasaur. He's the one. I don't know that he's like leading the way, but he's one of the more visible ones I've seen in the Pokemon vendor POV space, and I've done a little bit of business with him, and I can't see someone watching the Bulbasaur content and being like, oh my, I will never go to a convention. But I could see people saying like, man, I want to go to the next one that's local to me, and I want to hit up. I want to go say hi to Dylan. I want to try to trade, buy, whatever, sell to him. So yeah, I think it's only a positive. It's just how much.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how much it does help though. Sure, I think it helps to some extent, but I think if you're watching that type of content, I think you're already so into Pokemon that you'd want to go to those like types of shows. Maybe watching those videos is like the final push that gets you to spend money to travel to one of those shows, but I can't see it being like a massive percentage.
So what you're saying is all the praises we've sung of Collecticons, we've influenced more people. You're welcome, Collecticon. We've gotten more people to vend with you. We've gotten more people to attend your convention, to come say hi to us.
Yes.
Then all this viral vendor POV stuff is done. So you're welcome.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, we are fully caught up. It is almost 3:30. I said we were going to end between 3:15 and 3:30. So at least for that, I will be a man of my word. Anything to say in final? I guess go watch Nick on eBay Live tonight. Especially though, like if you only have one night to devote to watching to Nick, don't watch tonight. Watch tomorrow night. Watch tomorrow night with me and PK in the background. Maybe Jake. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, thanks everyone for watching. Dylan, I forget your username. And Tom, see you tomorrow. Anyone else in the Mass area, come to the show. But
late tips Fedora, I think it was. Yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow, and I look forward to being in the background of Nick's eBay Live, maybe causing a ruckus. So appreciate everyone hanging out. As always, we will catch you all later.